Good evening, friends. How often have you found yourself comparing your success, your happiness, your life to someone else's? It's a common trap, one that quietly saps our energy and focus. But let me tell you something, the only person you should be competing with is the person you were yesterday. You see, life is not a race against others. It's a journey, a process of growth, and the only standard that truly matters is the one you set for yourself. So instead of worrying about what others are doing, why not channel that energy into becoming the best version of yourself? The secret to success and happiness lies in focusing inward. Instead of measuring your worth against someone else's achievements, focus on your own progress. Ask yourself, what am I doing today that's better than yesterday? When you shift your focus from others to yourself, something remarkable happens. You find that the comparisons that once weighed you down no longer matter. You begin to live with a sense of purpose, driven by your own goals and values, not by someone else's definition of success. And the beauty of this, once you focus on improving yourself, you'll find that you not only become better for yourself, but for those around you. So let's stop trying to keep up with everyone else and instead start the lifelong process of becoming our own best selves. Friends, we live in a world where we are constantly encouraged to measure our progress against others. So whether it's at work, in social circles, or even online, there's always that unspoken competition: who has the better job, the bigger house, the fancier car, or the more exciting life. It's as if we've been conditioned to believe that life is one long race and the prize goes to whoever gets to the finish line first. But let me ask you, what finish line are we really talking about here? You see, life isn't some grand contest where we have to outperform others to find success or happiness. The truth is, everyone is running their own race, and every race is different. Your journey is unique, and it's shaped by your own experiences, dreams, and choices. If you're constantly looking to the left and right, trying to gauge where you stand compared to others, you lose sight of the most important path, the one that's right in front of you. Now let's dig deeper into this. Why do we feel this need to compare? Why do we tie our happiness to how we measure up against others? I believe it's because we often don't take the time to reflect on our own personal values and definitions of success. We let society dictate what success should look like: a high-paying job, a certain lifestyle, or even a particular relationship status. But here's the catch: success isn't one size fits all. What works for one person may not be what fulfills you. When we treat life as a race against others, we inevitably set ourselves up for frustration. Why? Because no matter how hard we try, there will always be someone who appears to be doing better, someone who seems to be smarter, wealthier, or more successful. And when we focus on that, what happens? We become discouraged. We lose motivation. We start to doubt our own capabilities, and we feel like we're falling behind. But what if, instead of seeing life as a competition, we saw it as a journey? A journey where the only goal is to become better than the person we were yesterday. A journey where progress isn't measured by how fast we reach a milestone compared to others, but by how much we grow along the way. Think about the people you admire most, not because of their status or wealth, but because of their character, their resilience, and their ability to overcome challenges. I'd wager that most of those people didn't get to where they are by constantly checking on the competition. They focused on their own path. They realized early on that their journey wasn't about being the best in the world, it was about being the best for themselves. When you shift your focus from others to yourself, something remarkable happens. You find that the comparisons that once weighed you down no longer matter. You begin to live with a sense of purpose, driven by your own goals and values, not by someone else's definition of success. And the beauty of this, once you focus on improving yourself, you'll find that you not only become better for yourself, but for those around you. So let's stop trying to keep up with everyone else and instead start the lifelong process of becoming our own best selves. I know it's tempting to compare. It's hard not to when we're constantly bombarded by other people's highlight reels, whether on social media or in casual conversations. But here's a little secret. The grass may look greener on the other side, but you never know the sacrifices, struggles, or hardships that someone else has endured to get where they are. Every person is fighting their own battles, and you cannot understand their journey just by looking at the surface. So I challenge you today, right now, to let go of the idea that life is a race. Let go of the pressure to keep up with anyone else. Instead, ask yourself, what is my journey about? What do I value? What do I want to achieve? Not because someone else has it, but because it matters to me. And then commit to that journey. Commit to becoming better, not faster than anyone else, but stronger than you were yesterday. A more resilient, more fulfilled, more you. Because the real measure of success isn't how far ahead you are of the person next to you, it's how far you've come on your own path. Life, my friends, is not a race to the finish. It's a deeply personal journey, one that's meant to be walked at your own pace, in your own time, and on your own terms. Enjoy it, embrace it, and most importantly, stay true to it. The only finish line that matters is the one you set for yourself. Friends, let me ask you a question. How many times have you found yourself comparing your life to someone else's? How often have you felt discouraged because someone else seems to be more successful, more accomplished, or simply ahead of where you are? It's a common feeling, isn't it? But I want to share with you a truth that can transform the way you see yourself and the world around you. The only person you should compete with is yourself. You see, competition is a natural part of life. We're taught from a young age to compete in school and sports, at work. We're told that to succeed, we have to be better than the next person. But here's the problem with that mindset. When you're constantly competing with others, you're playing a game with rules you didn't create. You're chasing someone else's version of success, and more often than not, you're setting yourself up for frustration. Let me explain why. When you measure your success against someone else's, you're comparing two completely different stories. You have different backgrounds, different challenges, different goals. What looks like success for them might not even align with your own values or aspirations. Yet we fall into this trap of thinking that if we could just achieve what they've achieved, we'd be happy. But happiness doesn't come from trying to live someone else's life. Happiness comes from your own growth. And this is where the real competition comes in. Instead of measuring yourself against others, ask yourself this: am I better today than I was yesterday? That's the only competition that truly matters. When you focus on competing with yourself, something powerful happens. You stop worrying about external validation, and you start focusing on internal progress. You begin to measure your success not by how far ahead someone else is, but by how much you've grown, how much you've learned, and how much closer you are to reaching your own potential. Let me tell you a little story. There was once a young man who wanted to become a great speaker. He admired the great orators of his time, and he thought, I could just speak like them, I would be successful. So he studied them, mimicked them, tried to adopt their styles, but something was missing. And no matter how much he tried, he always felt like he was falling short. He couldn't speak with the same ease or confidence that they did. He was constantly comparing himself, and as a result, he was constantly frustrated. One day, he realized something: he wasn't them. He didn't need to speak like them. He needed to find his own voice, his own style, and focus on improving that. And so he stopped trying to compete with the great speakers of the time and started competing with himself. Each day, he worked on getting just a little better than he was the day before. Each day, he focused on his own progress, not on how he measured up to others. And you know what happened? He became one of the greatest speakers of his time, not because he was better than the others, but because he was better than he had been. Friends, that young man could be any one of us. The secret to success isn't in outshining others. It's in outshining yourself each and every day. Whether you're a student, a professional, or simply someone who wants to improve their life, the principle is the same. The moment you shift your focus from competing with others to competing with yourself, you free yourself from the pressures of comparison, and you give yourself the space to grow at your own pace. Now, you might be wondering, how do you compete with yourself? How do you ensure that each day you're getting better? It starts with small, deliberate actions. Set goals for yourself not based on what others are doing, but based on what you know you're capable of. And then, every day, strive to do just a little more, a little better. Did you improve a skill today? Did you take a step toward a personal goal? Did you push yourself out of your comfort zone just a little bit? These small victories, these moments of personal growth are far more valuable than any external success you might achieve by outdoing someone else. Why? Because they're yours. They're a reflection of your own effort, your own determination, and your own journey. They're not measured by someone else's standards, but by your own. And let me tell you something else. When you start competing with yourself, you begin to realize your true potential. You stop limiting yourself by comparing your journey to others. You start to see that the only limit to your success is the one you set for yourself. Each day becomes an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to push yourself further than you thought possible. But here's the most important part. When you focus on improving yourself, you find contentment. Not the fleeting kind that comes from winning a race or beating out the competition, but the deep, lasting satisfaction that comes from knowing you've done your best today. There's a peace in knowing that your progress is your own, that your growth is measured not by the success of others, but by your own efforts. So, my friends, I urge you, stop worrying about what others are doing. Stop comparing yourself to them, and start competing with the only person who truly matters, yourself. When you do this, you'll find that life becomes less about keeping up with others and more about discovering just how far you can go on your own. Remember, the only person you need to be better than is the person you were yesterday. And if you can do that, if you can wake up each day and strive to improve, even in small ways, you will find success, happiness. Friends, today I want to talk to you about one of the most liberating changes you can make in your life, shifting your energy away from external comparisons and toward internal growth. Now, I know that in our fast-paced world, it's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of what everyone else is doing. Whether it's a colleague who's just been promoted, a neighbor who's bought a new house, or a friend who's living what seems to be a picture-perfect life on social media, the temptation to compare ourselves is ever present. But I'm here to tell you that this kind of comparison does nothing but drain your energy, rob your peace of mind, and keep you from becoming the person you're truly meant to be. When you focus on external comparisons, you give your power away. You allow someone else's success or circumstances to dictate how you feel about yourself. So think about that for a moment. Every time you compare your life to someone else's, you hand over your energy, your most precious resource, to something you can't control. Now, why do we do this? Why do we let ourselves get so caught up in what others are doing? It's because we've been conditioned to believe that our value, our worth, is measured by how we stack up against others. From an early age, we're taught to keep score: who gets the best grades, who makes the most money, who's the most attractive, the most popular. But here's the problem with that mindset. When you're constantly comparing yourself to others, you're playing a losing game. No matter how well you're doing, there will always be someone who appears to be doing better. And that's because you're measuring yourself by someone else's standards that were never meant for you. Let me share a simple truth with you. You can't control what other people do. You can't control how fast someone else progresses in their career, how much money they make, or what they choose to show the world. But you can control one thing yourself. You can control your thoughts, your actions, your growth. And when you shift your energy from focusing on what others are doing to focusing on your own growth, something remarkable happens. You take back your power. What do you see? Energy is a limited resource. We all have only so much of it each day, and where you choose to direct that energy makes all the difference in the world. If you spend your energy worrying about what others are doing, you're not investing it in your own growth. You're not using it to pursue your goals, develop your talents, or strengthen your character. Instead, you're wasting it on things that are completely beyond your control. Let me give you an analogy. Imagine you're a gardener, and you have a small but promising plant in front of you. If you spend all your time staring at the other plants around you, wondering why they're growing faster or blooming earlier, what happens to your own plant? You neglect it. You stop giving it the attention and care it needs to thrive, and as a result, it withers. But when you stop worrying about the other plants and focus on your own, when you give it water, sunlight, and attention, it grows. It flourishes, and that's exactly how personal growth works. When you stop comparing yourself to others and instead focus on nurturing your own growth, you free yourself from the pressure of competition. You give yourself the space to develop at your own pace, in your own time. You begin to measure success not by how you compare to others, but by how much progress you've made on your own journey. And that's where real fulfillment comes from, not from trying to outdo someone else, but from knowing that you're becoming the best version of yourself. Now, you might be wondering, how do I make this shift? How do I stop comparing myself to others and start focusing on my own growth? Well, it begins with self-awareness. You have to recognize when you're falling into the comparison trap. Catch yourself in those moments when you're scrolling through social media or hearing about someone else's achievements, and remind yourself, their success does not take away from mine. Their journey is not my journey. Once you become aware of when you're comparing yourself to others, you need to take that energy and redirect it. Instead of spending your time worrying about someone else's progress, ask yourself, what can I do today to grow? What step can I take right now to improve myself, whether it's in my career, my relationships, or my personal development? Focus on the small actions that will move you forward, and let those actions be your measure of success. It's also important to remember that growth doesn't always happen in a straight line. There will be times when you make great strides and other times when progress seems slow or even non-existent. But that's okay. Growth is not a race, it's a process. It's about showing up every day and doing your best, no matter what anyone else is doing. And when you do that, you'll find that you're not just making progress, you're becoming more resilient, more confident, and more fulfilled. One more thing I want to emphasize: when you focus on internal growth, you gain a sense of peace. You stop feeling anxious about where you stand in relation to others because you're no longer using their rendition as your benchmark. Instead, you're using your own goals and values as the standard for success, and that kind of peace is priceless. So the kind of peace that allows you to celebrate other people's success without feeling threatened. It's the kind of peace that gives you the freedom to pursue your own dreams, knowing that your journey is exactly that, your own. So, my friends, I urge you, take your energy back. Stop giving it away to comparisons, to jealousy, to the endless pursuit of trying to keep up with others. Instead, invest that energy in yourself. Invest it in your growth, your goals, your dreams. Because when you focus on your own growth, not only will you become the best version of yourself, you'll find a deeper sense of fulfillment and joy than you ever could by trying to meet up to someone else. Remember, the only person you should compare yourself to is the person you were yesterday. And if you can grow just a little more today than you did yesterday, that's progress. So that's success, and that's the kind of competition that will truly change your life. I want to talk to you about something that I believe lies at the heart of true fulfillment, understanding that purpose and happiness come from within. In today's world, it's easy to think that our happiness depends on external circumstances, what we own, what we achieve, or what other people think of us. But I'm here to tell you that the true source of happiness and purpose isn't found in any of those things. It comes from within you. Now, let me ask you this: how often do we chase things outside of ourselves in the hope of finding happiness? We think, if only I had a better job, I'd be happy. If only I could earn more money, if I could get that promotion, buy that new car, or get the approval of those around me, then I'd finally be happy. But the truth is, even if you achieve all of those things, you might still find yourself feeling unfulfilled. Why? Because happiness isn't something you can find out there, it's something you cultivate from within. Let me explain. External achievements and material possessions may bring temporary satisfaction, but they don't provide lasting happiness. Think about it: you might get a rush of excitement when you land a promotion, buy a new house, or receive praise from others, but how long does that feeling last? Days? Weeks? Eventually that excitement fades and you find yourself looking for the next thing that will make you happy. This endless pursuit leaves you feeling empty, because you're always chasing something outside of yourself. But here's the good news: you don't have to chase happiness. You already have everything you need to be happy right here, inside of you. True happiness doesn't come from what you achieve or what you own. It comes from living a life that is aligned with your values, your passions, and your sense of purpose. Purpose, my friends, is the key to lasting happiness. And where does purpose come from? It doesn't come from external success or the approval of others. It comes from within. It comes from understanding who you are, what you care about, and how you can contribute to the world in a meaningful way. When you have a sense of purpose, you wake up every day with a reason to be excited. You feel a deep sense of fulfillment, not because of what you have or what others think of you, but because you're living in alignment with your true self. Now, let me share a story with you. There was once a businessman who spent his entire life chasing success. He climbed the corporate ladder, made a lot of money, and gained the admiration of his colleagues. On the outside, it looked like he had everything. But on the inside, he felt empty. No matter how much he achieved, he always felt like something was missing. One day, he realized something: he wasn't them. He didn't need to speak like them. He needed to find his own voice, his own style, and focus on improving that. And so he stopped trying to compete with the great speakers of the time and started competing with himself. Each day, he worked on getting just a little better than he was the day before. Each day, he focused on his own progress, not on how he measured up to others. And you know what happened? He became one of the greatest speakers of his time, not because he was better than the others, but because he was better than he had been. Friends, that young man could be any one of us. The secret to success isn't in outshining others. It's in outshining yourself each and every day. Whether you're a student, a professional, or simply someone who wants to improve their life, the principle is the same. The moment you shift your focus from competing with others to competing with yourself, you free yourself from the pressures of comparison, and you give yourself the space to grow at your own pace. What can we learn from this story? We can learn that purpose doesn't come from what you achieve externally. It comes from living authentically. It comes from doing what you love, from using your strengths, and from contributing to something bigger than yourself. When you align your life with your purpose, happiness naturally follows, because you're no longer seeking validation or fulfillment from external sources. Now, you might be wondering, how do I find my purpose? How do I discover what will truly make me happy? The answer lies in self-reflection. You have to look within yourself and ask the important questions: what do I care about? What am I passionate about? What kind of impact do I want to make in the world? These questions are not easy, but they are essential if you want to live a life that is meaningful and fulfilling. And let me tell you something else: when you start competing with yourself, you begin to realize your true potential. You stop limiting yourself by comparing your journey to others. You start to see that the only limit to your success is the one you set for yourself. Each day becomes an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to push yourself further than you thought possible. But here's the most important part. When you focus on improving yourself, you find contentment. Not the fleeting kind that comes from winning a race or beating out the competition, but the deep, lasting satisfaction that comes from knowing you've done your best today. There's a peace in knowing that your progress is your own, that your growth is measured not by the success of others, but by your own efforts. Friends, I want to leave you with this thought: happiness is not something you can buy, achieve, or win. It's not a destination you arrive at once you've checked off all the boxes of success. Happiness is a state of mind, and it comes from within. It comes from living a life that is aligned with your values and your purpose. And when you understand that, you'll stop chasing external validation, and you'll start experiencing a deep, lasting sense of fulfillment. So, the next time you find yourself feeling unfulfilled, ask yourself, am I living according to my own values? Or am I chasing someone else's definition of success? Am I pursuing what truly matters to me? Or am I seeking approval from the outside world? One day, a mentor pulled him aside and said, "You're so worried about other people's success that you're neglecting your own potential. Well, their journey is not your journey. If you keep focusing on them, you'll miss out on what you're capable of." That simple piece of advice changed everything for the young artist. He stopped comparing himself to others and started focusing on his own development. He began to celebrate other artists' success instead of resenting it. And you know what happened? His work improved. He felt more creative, more motivated, and eventually he found his own success not by competing with others, but by focusing on his own unique path. What can we learn from this story? We can learn that purpose doesn't come from what you achieve externally. It comes from living authentically. It comes from doing what you love, from using your strengths, and from contributing to something bigger than yourself. When you align your life with your purpose, happiness naturally follows because you're no longer seeking validation or fulfillment from external sources. Now, you might be wondering, how do I find my purpose? How do I discover what will truly make me happy? The answer lies in self-reflection. You have to look within yourself and ask the important questions. What do I care about? What am I passionate about? What kind of impact do I want to make in the world? These questions are not easy, but they are essential if you want to live a life that is meaningful and fulfilling. And let's talk about what it means to focus on your own journey. When you focus on your own path, you're not distracted by what others are doing. You're not constantly looking over your shoulder, comparing your progress to theirs. Instead, you're fully committed to your own goals, your own credit, and your own vision of success. This kind of focus is incredibly freeing because it allows you to measure success by your own standards, not by anyone else's. And let me tell you something else. When you focus on your own journey, you're much more likely to stay motivated, even when things get tough. Why? Because your motivation comes from within. It comes from your own sense of purpose, not from trying to keep up with someone else. You're not driven by external comparisons, but by your own desire to improve, to learn, to grow. And that kind of motivation is sustainable. It lasts because it's rooted in something real, your own passion and commitment. Let me give you a personal example. In my own life, I've seen many people achieve success, often far quicker than I did. So there were times when I could have let that discourage me, but I didn't. Why? Because I understood that their success had nothing to do with me. I was on my own path, at my own pace. And as long as I stayed focused on what I could control, my own actions, my own progress, I knew that I would reach my destination in my own time. And I did. Friends, I want you to understand that life is not a race. It's not about getting to the finish line first or achieving more than someone else. Life is about growth. It's about learning, evolving, and becoming the best version of yourself. And when you keep your focus on your own journey, you free yourself from the pressures of competition and comparison. You give yourself the space to grow at your own pace, in your own time. But that doesn't mean you can't cheer for others along the way. In fact, celebrating the success of others makes your own journey more joyful. So when you can be genuinely happy for someone else's achievements, you're cultivating an abundance mindset. If you're saying to the world there's enough success for all of us, and that mindset brings peace, positivity, and fulfillment, because you're no longer chasing success out of fear of missing out. You're pursuing it out of a genuine desire to grow and trade. So, my friends, I leave you with this. Celebrate the success of others, cheer for them, support them, and be inspired by them. But never lose sight of your own journey. Your path is yours alone, and it's unfolding in exactly the way it's meant to. Trust in that and keep moving forward, one step at a time. We've also explored why it's so important to let go of comparisons, to stop measuring your worth against the achievements of others, and instead to keep your eyes on your own path. Here's what I want you to remember. Your life is uniquely yours. No one else is walking in your shoes. No one else has lived your experiences, faced your challenges, or shared your exact dreams. So why should you compare your journey to anyone else's? When you focus on others, what they have, what they've achieved, you're taking energy away from what really matters, your own potential, your own growth, and your own happiness. I want to remind you of the power that lies within you, the power to shape your own destiny, the power to live a life that's true to who you are, not defined by others, not determined by external expectations, but driven by your own values, your own passions, and your own sense of purpose. When you stop worrying about what others are doing and instead invest that energy in yourself, you'll be amazed at how much you can achieve. As you go forward, I encourage you to celebrate others without losing focus on yourself. When you see someone else succeed, remember that their success is proof that it's possible for you too. And when you feel tempted to compare or to doubt your own worth, stop. Take a moment to reflect on how far you've come, on the unique path that you're on, and on the potential that still lies ahead. The most important thing I can leave you with is this: trust in your own journey. Embrace it with patience and perseverance. The challenges you face, the victories you experience, the failures you learn from, they all make you who you are, and no one else can walk that path for you. So as you leave here tonight, commit to focusing on yourself, not in a selfish way, but in a way that allows you to live your life with purpose, intention, and joy. Keep your eyes on your own growth and don't let the noise of comparison distract you from what truly matters. Your path is unfolding just as it should, and your success, your personal, unique success, will come in its own time. Thank you, and I wish you all the best as you continue on your journey.